Good evening, happy Friday, happy weekend, and welcome along to another episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. Hope you have had a good week. Thanks for spending your Friday night with us. I'm joined by you, the usual host with the most, Stephen. How you doing, mate? How's your week been?
It's been a manic week. It's been a stressful last day. Work was finished. Took the daughter to judo. Rushed back here. Didn't think it was going to get on time, but I'm buzzing to be back on with us. And I think the Friday team we're back together. And who knows, we might have a couple of wee ding dongs tonight. But it's all good. It's all fun.
More than likely. Before I go any further, I don't know if I have or not. It might be a wee delay. There might be a wee few technical connection issues my end. If it is, just put a comment in and we'll try and work on it. But Ross, how's your week been, mate?
Not bad, mate. Fully back into the swing of things. Feel like I was never away on holiday now. I feel like I was never away on holiday now. I've actually 5 minutes before I sat down. I don't know what it is, but I've went all like hay fever and my eyes are like really red and itchy. And so if I start sneezing, just excuse me. I don't know what it is. I've had to go and get wipes.
Tell them the real reason. Tell them the real reason. I dumped you off her. I was full on you. Like,
it's big guy.
I thought you were going to say Sharon farted in his pillow or something. More than doing that.
Maybe I'm actually drinking a nice latte. Maybe I'm allergic to it.
Could be lactose, isn't it? Lactose. Something.
Don't know.
Before we start, we'll wire into the. I don't know if you have you got a copy of the Super Six here, Stephen?
I've got it here. If I can bring it up,
fire it up there for everybody that's still playing and not jumped out yet. Oh, there you go. So, Endless Celts in there.
Super Six, as we can see there, Kieran is number 1, Mark Robertson 2, Anthony Dunn 3rd, Kevin Gallagher 4th, Williams dropped. Well, I think he's come up, but it looked like he has dropped the 5th. Niall Thomas 6th, Joe Finley 7th, Jamie McElduff 8th, and Alistair Jack coming in at 9th place. And like Willie said, anyone who wants to get involved, and the banner below, the league pins there, just search that on the Super Six platform, and you can enter. And thankfully, we've got a wee prize coming on its way. Fire Ross for Stephen Coulthard. It's been a long time coming, but we finally got there, boys.
That was going to be the next point, Stephen. It's officially on its way, I believe. So we'll get that to you ASAP. Apologies that it's taken a bit longer, but let's get into it. Wednesday night, Celtic were back under the lights at home in Paradise, and the biggest. You're probably both, to be fair, San Fran. Yeah, back under the lights in the big time in Paradise. I was buzzing for the game. I think you guys were as well. Was looking forward to it. Hopefully getting a good result. What's your again, Stephen, you always kind of do it with us, so just a wee base. I know we're going to go into it deeper, but your thoughts on the game in general?
I mean, to start off with the actual stadium itself, it's brilliant to see Parkhead back in that kind of that atmosphere again, back in the top table of European football. I think we all know the atmosphere, the fans, the singing, You'll Never Walk Alone. I think there was a live music artist there. I think it was. Ross, you could be able to tell us more about that. Granted, terrible week. But like yourselves, I was very optimistic going into the match. I know we had a bit of a heated debate, me and Franny, on Monday, but again, I'm just coming from the angles where I want the club to do the best. The game in large parts, I think it was the story of last season, to be fair. I think in large parts we ultimately controlled the game. Lazio didn't look that dangerous. He was in eating the prawn sandwiches, Monty. Lazio didn't look that dangerous. It was basically, in my opinion, we created our own downfalls, and so to speak. And yeah, second half of it, that was the best I've seen us in Europe for quite some time. And it's just the same old story for me. It's the same old, we never get over the line, we never get the points on the board. And look, we will get into it. I'm sure we will. I'm sure the comments will fire into it as well. But my overall takeaway from the game, I'm majorly disappointed in the result.
Yeah, I think we're all the same. Ross, just a wee general summary. You were at the game, so the atmosphere was it rocking like the old days?
Aye. It was. Obviously, Stephen touched on the live performer. I forget the lassie's name, but she was really good pre-match. She done a rendition of Grace. Full stadium was singing it. It was really good. I even took a video of that. It was so good. And then I've heard a few people talking about that she shouldn't have done the "You'll Never Walk." Shouldn't have done the "You'll Never Walk Alone." Let the fans do it. The fans still sung "You'll Never Walk Alone." I still enjoyed it. It was the first time I've been to a big European night in a while. Maybe the guys that go more regularly are probably better placed to have an opinion on that than myself, but I thoroughly enjoyed it at the time. The stadium, there was a really good atmosphere, but you could also feel the edginess every single time we were passing about at the back. It's just it's where it's the fans have got it and the players have got it. It's that there's a mental block, there's a nervousness, and as well as they played, you could still tell in moments there was a nervousness, but it's understandable. These guys are new. It's not an excuse. Some of these guys are new to it. Some of them have got one campaign under their belt. But in terms of the game itself, I thought Celtic played really well for the most part. I thought Lazio, the first sort of 5 minutes, they were popping the ball about really quite well, and you could tell like there's just that. In terms of popping the ball about the way they did, you could just tell that there's that sort of difference in class compared to the way we pop it about. It's a bit slower, and I know Brendan likes to build a bit slower, but you can just tell. But then Celtic came into the game, and I thought they sort of controlled it up till they got their goal, and then they done what Celtic always do in Europe. They didn't just keep doing what they were doing and keep playing. They sort of sat off Lazio and allowed them to come onto them, let them back into the game, and then Lazio get the equaliser. We'll go more into it, obviously, but in general, I think Celtic played really well, and to lose 2-1, they were very hard done by. I'm not seeing all these comments that you are laughing at. What's the story?
I've put that
up. Aye, that's quite good, aye.
Cheers, Monty. I'm on water tonight, Monty. I've had an ear infection all week, so I've been on more prescription drugs than fucking Michael Jackson was when he was on. So they drink for me tonight. But so started off, great start for us. Our two sort of talisman, I would say, this year, Stephen and O'Reilly setting up Kyogo. It was a great move. What was your thoughts on the goal?
I think for me that was a great team move. It's something you could watch over and over again. I think it was silky play. Like Ross, I have to agree with him. We popped it about a bit slower than Lazio, but I think that's probably down to the fact that we're still getting used to this kind of slow, progressive football under Rodgers, and we're so used to Postecoglou. And obviously, we have to keep coming back to that fact that the players are making probably a major step and going back to possession-based football, keeping it for long periods of time and trying to build the play from the back. We're on their hands. It was quick, it was thrust, and you're up the pitch in no time. But I thought the goal was very, very good. Dyson Maeda played a vital part in the goal. And in my opinion, he cut in from the right-hand side. Most of the time, he's not controlling that ball, but he did. He fizzed the great pass into O'Reilly, and then O'Reilly just caressed that ball to Kyogo. And I have to be honest, I thought Kyogo was going to miss. I don't know why. I just thought when Kyogo was 1-on-1, he was going to hit it straight at the keeper, which he did. But thankfully, the keeper kind of jumped and the ball went under him. It was a great team goal. The thing I'm disappointed about the most is, like what Ross said, as soon as we got that goal, we stopped doing what we were doing for the latter 20 minutes the previous 20 minutes of the game. We stopped pressing them as high up the pitch. Lazio started coming into the game more. They were growing in confidence. Felipe Anderson was getting the ball. Alberto was making chances happen. Immobile was throwing himself about. And like what Ross said, it frustrated me so much that they, in my opinion, were there for the taking. And I think it was someone in the comments, I can't remember who, but please comment back. If there was a time to play Lazio, it would have been now. Yeah, we can't go on about the indifferent form they had, but I just thought they looked shell-shocked when we were attacking them, when we pressed them high, they weren't coping really well with it. And the likes of O'Reilly, the likes of even Maeda, Yang, well, to a certain extent, Palma, to a certain extent as well, when he came on, they were getting joy on the wings and just stopping what we were doing. I didn't understand it, and it angered me so much because we could all see it. And Ross, you were at the stadium, you could have felt it more in terms of the atmosphere around it as well. As soon as they got the goal, Celtic got the goal, was step back, and we just let them really control the game from there on in terms of possession based.
Ross, what's your thoughts on the first goal? Agree with Stephen, it was well worked, and it was a bit of a throwback to the old team we had under Brendan Rodgers, we were scoring goals like them for fun with the runs with Sinclair and that. I thought it was quite similar to that sort of style he had in his first term.
I thought it was an absolutely terrific goal that wouldn't have been out of place in any stadium all around Europe on Wednesday night, Tuesday night. It was a goal that was worthy of that stage, the Champions League. It was so well worked. Maeda, we can talk about him and his first touch, his decision making and stuff like that. But for all that he's an awful football player, you wouldn't have him out the team. I think he picks up the ball well. And he comes inside, he sees the pass into O'Reilly, and just the run for Kyogo and the perfectly weighted pass for Matt O'Reilly was absolutely top drawer, and I really thought when we go up 1-0, I think I said earlier on in the day or the day before that we need to get the first goal in these games because it gives the fans something to feed off, and it did. We got the first goal and you're thinking, could this be the night? We were playing really well. Although Lazio had their moments, we were playing really well. We were controlling the possession of the ball. We had it for the most part. And then we get that goal, and then we sort of just sit off Lazio a wee bit, allow them to have the ball, allow them to come back into the game, and you allow teams to control the ball like we were doing, good teams. Eventually, at some point, they'll hurt you. I know it was a set piece. We'll probably come on to that next, Wally. But I was slightly disappointed. I thought they would have just kept doing it. I know it's difficult. You get the goal, you're excited and things like that. The adrenaline's flowing. So obviously there's reasons as to why it happens, but also you have to take into account that Lazio are a good team and they're going to have their moments. Just so happened that their moment was after we got the goal. And they probably had the best of the rest of the first half. But Celtic came into their own in the second half. I'll not go too much into it because obviously you maybe want to talk about that soon. But in terms of the goal itself, it was, as I said, well worthy of that stage. It was an absolutely terrific goal.
Yep. I absolutely, totally agree. I think it's hopefully a sign of things to come under Brendan. I think we're slowly getting there. But just before I go into the equaliser, there was a moment in the game, and VAR's been a big talking point, obviously, last few weeks. But Ross, coming back to you, I don't know if you've seen it back, but Hatate got a bit like your eye. He got a bit of a sore one, and I just wanted to see what your take on it was, because it's one of them. For me, it's a bit of a strange one, but I mean, aren't these the moments that VAR's meant to be in play for? If it's not like what's the term they use if the referee misses it? If it's not I can't remember what term it is.
Clear and obvious.
Isn't that what this is in place for? And what did you think of the decision? Clear and obvious. That's it. Aye. Clear and obvious.
For me, if ever there was a time I wanted Douglas Ross running the line, it was Wednesday night. Red card. But sadly, he wasn't there. For me, it was an out-and-out stone wall red card. And it gets worse when you see it in slow motion. Obviously, I was at the game, so I'm not seeing it live. I didn't see it, but obviously watching it back, I was like, how can they not see that? And fair enough if the ref doesn't see it, but it's the VAR, like you said. It's a clear and obvious error. The guy has had one go at him and not got him, and then caught him with a sort of forearm smash. It is a red card all day long, and you look at it and these are moments that can change games. We were up 1-0 at the time. You look at the Feyenoord game over there. Feyenoord, I think, we're up 1-0, and we got a man sent off for not even half of what that guy done, Lagerbielke. Yep. Lagerbielke's sort of feeling for the guy. He's not trying to hurt him, and he gets sent off. This guy forearm smashes Hatate at 1-0. We could gain that advantage that Feyenoord gained against us, but we don't get the decision. Feyenoord do. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, because let's face it, they don't really care about Celtic and Feyenoord, these refs. But for me, they're the fine lines, the fine margins that go against you, go for you, and they can really like change a game. Had they went down to 10 men in that game at 1-0 down the way we were playing, controlling the ball, I think it's very difficult for Lazio to come back into that game. I'm not saying Celtic would have definitely won it, but they certainly had a fucking hell of a better chance in what it is at 11v11. It's a terrible mistake, and for it not to really have been spoken about at great length for me, that saddens me a wee bit. Celtic are just not getting decisions like that now, and you need things like that at this level when you're playing at the level Celtic play it. You need things like that to go for you, and at the minute, they aren't.
Yeah, Stephen, I agree. I think that most people everybody in the comments that's commented has agreed that they thought it was a red. For me, like, again, you don't really notice it at the time, but that's what VAR's there for. And I don't even think in the game, watching it at home, that they touched on it until half time. But for me, in the replay, you can clearly see the player hasn't even got his eyes on the ball. He turns around and he's looking Hatate dead in the eyes before he throws his forearm into it. But what did you think of the situation?
I mean, for me, like, I think everyone's right. It was a clear red card. I mean, what's the point of VAR when they don't call back these incidents? The only thing I could think of, because it wasn't leading to a goal scoring opportunity or wasn't really impacting the play as such, but he as Ross said, he literally forearm smashed him. It wouldn't look out of place in UFC or WWE in the ring or the octagon. So, I mean, it was right bang on the chops. Like, and fair play to Rio for continuing on with the game. That was in his eye. Remember, he got the boot in the weekend's game. I was in that eye as well, so it would have probably been a sore one to take. But VAR, I mean, look at the shambles with the whole Spurs and Liverpool's fiasco. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there's mistakes ridden throughout this whole system, and this has been implemented to make the game better. But in actual fact, they're missing clear errors, which doesn't make sense to me. They have angles, they have assistant VAR people, they've got VAR people, and then they've got people who make the decisions, fourth officials, assistant referees. And many people do they need to help them out to get the right call? So, I mean, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to make any excuse saying, for example, if they got sent off, would have won the game. No, we don't know the outcome of what the game would have been. But it's like Ross said, the rub of the green, the luck, we don't quite get it in these big games or big tournaments. And it's been kind of a thing that's happened for years and years. Look, I want the decision if it's the correct one. And I think it's the system, yes, Sam Fran, 100%. And I think you'd be blind not to see that's a red card. I mean, did you see, by the way, not to switch the subject, but you spoke about lines, obviously not in regards to offsides, but did you see that line they drew last night for the Rangers game? Shambles, like, so, like, what are these people being...
The edge of the box, so either the edge of the box is pretty fucking squint, or it's the VAR's line.
Signs up.
But it's like, what are these people? What are these people paid to do? So I mean, if you can't see a forearm smash, you give an offside goal by drawing a wonky line. Spurs against Liverpool, they missed a clear goal with Luis Diaz. I think it was to believe, but it's a shambles. I mean, if that was in the SPFL, you would understand it not being given because we know the shit standard that we have. But this is a top table of European football with the top referees, the top officials, the top equipment, the best VAR, and they don't see it. I just don't understand it. It's baffling to me.
In the best league in the world.
Yeah, like what Sam,
Liverpool, so.
Like what Sam Fran said, if it's the system, get it out. And just go back to what we had, because it's an absolute joke. It really is.
It doesn't seem to be VAR that's the problem, though. It's the people that are handling it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's I don't know if it's the actual VAR system. It's the rules behind it, the politics behind it, and the people that are running it, which is just a
100%
absolute shambles. But after that situation, Stephen, I'll just come back to you. We conceded an equaliser. A set play again. It seems like we've got plenty of men in the box to deal with it. I don't know if it's harsh to say some were ball watching or what, but it just seemed like just another little sloppy mistake that we seem to be. For me, it seemed like last season we'd done this a lot. We were in the ascendancy. We weren't clinical enough, and then we'd make some sort of sloppy mistake, which you can't do at this level. What did you think about the goal we conceded? Do you think we could have done more to stop it from happening?
It's a typical Celtic goal that we concede in Europe, isn't it? It is a shambles, if we're honest. I mean, for me, the corner kick, there's 3 different points. There's 3 times where we could have cleared that ball. The first time when the ball came into the box, we missed it. Second time when it dropped, we missed it. And then the fella hooked it over and the man got the flick on. Joe Hart, to be fair to him, got his hand to the ball, but didn't clear it off the line, and then eventually had the goal. And for me, it's like McGranda said, there you can write the scripts in these games. And look, again, we're on the ascendancy, that's great. But like what Ross said, I'll go back to it, we did not capitalise on what we were doing. We stopped doing what we were being brilliant at in that game, and we kind of invited the pressure onto ourselves. And conceding the goal that way, a set piece, seems to be kind of Celtic's kryptonite. Defend the set pieces, especially in European football, or even in the box, the ball gets loose. We never seem to get a man on it. It either hits one of their men and goes in the back of the net, or like what was seen there on Wednesday night against Lazio. It's still, for me, it's a shambles. I think Nat Phillips was a donkey. I don't know what he was trying to do. He flopped himself at the ball. He missed the first contact. The second contact was missing. It was lights out from there. And it's the basics for me, the basics of defending. And by the way, I must say, Liam Scales was fantastic again. I have to say that. I thought he was immense. He's proven me wrong big time. But in terms of the goal, it was a shambles to concede, and then like you're kind of in hope more than anything after it.
Yeah, Ross, I think Strangelove makes a great point. You don't make we need to win that first ball, but from that point, it's a bit, that is down to a bit of luck. But at the same time, if you don't win the first ball, you need to win the second, or then even the fucking third. That and like I say, there's plenty of bodies in there to deal with it. What did you think about it?
I think Strangelove has sort of nailed it. You have to win the first ball. It's not the worst ball into the box. It's not the greatest corner either. But it's just one of the ones. It's just not dealt with immediately, and then thereafter it's a sort of lottery. It's whoever gets their sort of head on it first. The Lazio player obviously headers it just outside the 6-yard box, and then you've got the other guy more or less on the line, just a wee flick on and hope. And for there, it's difficult to react. Hart sort of gets a half hand to it, and then he does well to even try and claw it back out. But by that point, it's in. Where I was sitting is actually, it was pretty much in line with the post on the side that it went in. So instantly I was like, oh, it's a fucking goal. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you could see it was well over. Disappointing, but I still felt at that point the game was there for us. We just had to go back to what we were doing at the start. And I think into the second half, we started to do that again and took control of the game, which was pleasing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to come straight back to you then, because that's what I'm going to go on to the second half. I thought we came out and we were excellent. I don't know if it was similar to last season where I thought we created those. It's just that clinical, that last... and I'm going to touch on a few player performances later on, but Maeda especially is just that, gets into such good positions and does such great work, but it's just that either clinical, just that clinicalness or that one pass, it just seems to be lacking. And then at this level, you can get punished for it. But we scored a wonderful goal, another wonderful goal, and unfortunately our luck yet again. You talk about it, how it swings a certain way, and we don't get the luck with the Hatate incident, and then we obviously get the bad luck for the goal. Just your thoughts on that, the build up, the finish, young Palmer that came on, and then obviously the heartache after it.
Well, first and foremost, it was a really good goal. I thought, I listened to Stephen on Monday night talking about Palmer, and he said that he was very Jesus slow. Christ. No. You'll be very surprised here, what I'm going to say. He said he was slow. He said he refuses to take a man on. He was refusing to take his man on. And I agreed with every word he said. He was absolutely bang on the money. And he came on and he done exactly the same on Wednesday night. He was on, again, where I was sitting. I was on that side that he was playing on. I was watching him really closely because I was quite interested to see how, because I hadn't seen a lot of him. Didn't take his man on. Always wanted to come back inside. But he was very effective in the game albeit he wasn't taking his man on. I agree with Stephen. He isn't blessed with a lot of pace. He looks quite cumbersome, if that's the right word I'm using there. He's certainly when he gets an offer, he's no fear to have a shot. And I thought in terms of the goal, he was very composed because he could have lashed at it straight away, but he takes the touch inside to make room for to then find the near post. It was a great finish. I'm going to say something here, right? And I don't want slagged. It's maybe going to sound crazy, but I know what I'm thinking in my head. So Palma he lacks pace, right? And I'm not saying that he's by any stretch on this guy's level, but he has got a decent delivery into the box, and I think that because of that, he doesn't always need to beat his man. And a certain David Beckham was like that. No, I'm not saying he's. I have to reiterate, he's nowhere near that level. His delivery.
That's because you watched the documentary.
David Beckham. Watched that documentary. I haven't watched it. No, but David Beckham he wasn't blessed with pace. He didn't really beat a man, but he just had such good quality on his cross that he was just a very effective player because of that. Palma's not got that quality. He obviously hasn't. But I think he'll get a cross in early rather than beat his man, and the quality of the ball will get round about the man, sort of thing. I ken what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I thought he did. He was.
The guys in the chat are agreeing with you, Corvo. By the way, Corvo, some result for the tune the other night. Well done, mate. He says the same thing. The right foot's a weapon, and Strangelove says you don't need to beat a man when you can deliver the ball like him. Think Tomo.
So I wasn't talking pish, thank God. But for me, what he done in the time he came on, I'm not slagging Yang because I thought in wee fits and starts he did do well. I like the directness of Yang. They're different players, but I think probably in the two substitute appearances, Palma's done enough to probably deserve a start against Kilmarnock. But I mean, I've heard people using words aimed at Celtic after that performance, like naive and stuff like that. And I don't like words like naive getting aimed at Celtic off the back of that performance. Certainly,
I agree with
performances past, absolutely. But I don't think Celtic were naive the other night. I think, but for the width, a piece of leather on Maeda's boot, we won that game 2-1. And the full narrative of what we're talking about tonight changes. We talk about how we're controlled, how we're measured, how we kept the ball really well, how we didn't create as many chances as what an Ange Postecoglou team did. Not clear-cut chances anyway, but the clear-cut chances we did create went in the back of the net, albeit that one of them was slightly offside because of a flick for Maeda that you just cannot legislate for. I think we only really created two clear-cut chances in the match. The one that Kyogo scored and the one that Palma put in the back of the net. We created some half chances, decent moments, but we never created as many chances as what the sort of Ange team did in probably any of the games that we played in the last year's campaign. But listen, they didn't get the goal, but for that piece of leather, and then I know we'll probably go into that goal, but for me, it's not a Carter Vickers mistake. I think he's been given the ball, and there's a lot of players around him, and he's not really got an opportunity to do much with it. And somebody nicks a toe on it, and for there, we're sort of. I think Brendan Rodgers nailed it. I didn't notice it myself at the time, but the way he says how we sort of emptied the box, if you like, before we'd proper possession. And once the boy nicks it, we're really struggling, and you could see it unfold. I could see it unfold in front of my eyes. I was like, this is the moment. Just get ready to jump this chair and get out of here because you're fucking raging. It was absolutely soul-destroying, gut-wrenching, spewing. There's so many descriptives you could use for it. People, I mean, you have to say same old story sort of thing, but it was the same old ending to the story, but I don't think the middle part of the story and the start was the same old story.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in. Stephen was shaking his head a lot there as well, but Yeah, so Stephen, you were shaking your head a lot, like I said. What's your thoughts, first of all, on our goal? Our goal that wasn't a goal. I agree with Ross in the fact that, the result doesn't tell the story. The result is the same old story, but I agree with how we played. I don't think it's the same old story in the Champions League, but we're going to go into all that sort of stuff as well. But so give us, your thoughts on the goal, then the last minute conceding the goal. I thought it was interesting that Ross said. I didn't hear Roger saying that, but I've got down here on my notes about what I was wanting to say was that, like, I seen a lot of people complaining about when we were at one each or whatever, this whole possession football where you pass it to the centre half, to the left back, kind of back in again. I understood that because I think we can make better openings playing that way. And I think the first time we didn't do that in the last 20 minutes was when we ended up getting caught in possession and then they were in and away. I think if we continue to do that, that goal doesn't come. So I understand that. And I think us playing that way, creating one or two opportunities in 10 minutes could be far better than us just lumping balls up for 10 minutes, for example. So it's an interesting one. So your thoughts on our goal that wasn't a goal, and the sucker punch at the end, and just everything you shook your head at to Ross anyway.
I mean, for me, I have to say, I'm quite surprised that Ross actually agreed with me on Palma. I think Palma, for me, he's slow. As I said, he doesn't take his man on. But I will give him one thing: was 2 goals. Obviously, one got chalked off. Would have been both vital for Celtic. The Lazio goal, I thought it was a good finish. Literally, the keeper's near post, but the speed took it away from him. It was in before he dived. And like Ross, I think he is effective in terms of what he does. He's really good at passing the ball. He's good at seeing a pass. We haven't seen him do the dead ball situations yet, which is what he's meant to be really good at. So it'll be interested to see if him and O'Reilly share that. But it didn't look like that in the game. O'Reilly was over everything, the corner kicks as well. So maybe he'll get a chance to show what he's worth in the coming games. But I still stick to my opinion. On Monday, he doesn't excite me. And that's not me writing him off by any stretch of the imagination. He's not a player that excites me a lot. And Yang, as I said, excites me more so because of his directness, his skills, and albeit his end product needs to be kind of buffered and changed. And I think Corvo said it. Maybe Rodgers can coach that out of him. But in terms of the goal, yeah, there wasn't a goal, so the story is the same. Celtic got beat 2-1 in Champions League football, conceding late on in the match. And I wasn't shaking my head disagreeing as such with Ross in terms of what he was saying. I was disagreeing with the statement that we weren't naive. I thought we were really naive again. I think we're always going into these games and coming out of them saying we're learning, we'll be changing, we'll do things better, but it always ends up the same way. It makes me, I'm actually fed up with that, to be honest, because we should be doing better. I think Lazio were there for the taking. It reminded me a lot of the Shakhtar Donetsk games last season. I thought we could have took more than we did from them. And naivety is what I think what we spoke about, Ross, in terms of Celtic didn't keep doing what they were good at. They stepped off them and let them take control of the game. That's where I'm coming from, being naive in that sense, where we kind of invited the pressure. Second half, we come out and done really well for the first 20 or so minutes, and then they started taking control. And then eventually Pedro, who's like 5'2", scores a header, puts a pass Joe Hart. Obviously, it's a good goal, well worked, but I think Rodgers is correct. We emptied the box. Vickers made that mistake, gets the ball nicked off him, and then there was no one on the back post. There was nobody. I don't even know where Alistair Johnson was, to be honest, because he should have been covering him. But it was a poor goal to concede, and you felt the air being sucked out of Celtic Park at that time. And Ross, you were probably out. You were running out of that stadium when that one just to get out in time, getting caught in the melee. But look, lads, I'm going to be honest here with you. It's the same old story. We can dress it up again by saying we've played brilliant. We dominated possession, but possession doesn't win you games. All that doesn't win you games. You have to be clinical. I think Lazio maybe only really created 2 or 3.
Sorry, Steve. Don't forget that goal we scored a width of a piece of leather.
It's offside.
And another like 5 years ago, Celtic scored that goal.
Because VAR is up there. That's the only way we get that.
It's such it wasn't like Palma was offside. He ran offside. It should never be offside. It was so unlucky. And but for that wee tiny flick that Maeda, it's just a natural reaction. But for that, we go and win that game and the whole narrative changes.
Look, I agree with that, but the fact is, the narrative is how it is now. We can't be saying an offside goal. Yeah, it might have changed the game 100%, but it wasn't given. It was offside. We have to put that literally to one side now. We lost the game 2-1. It was a game we probably should have took a point or 3 points from. I think Alistair Johnson even said in one of his press conferences, he said they feel hard done by that. They thought they should have won the game. Cal McGregor as well said that. So even the players are feeling that. And look, at the end of the day, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, it feels like we're in last season again, where we're talking about us playing well and competing in the match, but it doesn't get to the points. And it's unfortunate, because if we had games where we competed in, we'd be fucking top of that Champions League group table, no problem. But we're not. And look, I'm not trying to be a dick or come across this with a bad attitude. I just think, looking at it from outside now, no, I'm not. I think looking at it from the outside now, I think we're not a de facto Champions League club no more. I think we're Europa League at best at the minute, and you can say we're learning next year is going to be better, but we don't know that. We thought this year would be better, and it's not better. But so that's where I'm sitting at.
I don't think everybody's saying that, and I think it's really. We were going to come on to this later on, but we'll just fire into it now because you have started.
No, I didn't mean to change the topics. But
I think it's really harsh to say we're naive. I think we've had big results in the Champions League before, and we've not played or performed half as well as we did that night. But it's football, so I think it's harsh to say. I think, like, Barcelona was an absolute freak. Like, we were battered that game, and because Fraser Foster was brilliant. So it's not just about, well, we didn't get the result though. Like, we were horrible that game, but managed to get the result. So you can't say we're naive now because we performed really well but didn't get the result. I think there was times last season where we didn't perform in the Champions League and we deserved to get battered against Leipzig's away and all the rest of it. But we didn't deserve to get battered last night. I thought we were excellent, and we can take hope. You seen me in the group chat on Wednesday. I was absolutely livid after the game. And I'm not doing this whole, oh, well, we're learning or we're this or that next thing. I was livid because we should have won that game. We were the far better side.
I totally agree.
So it's not naivety or whatever it is. And I think that's the reason there was nobody in the back post, or we emptied the box at the game, because we had a minute left of the game. You said yourself, the players said afterwards, I think you could see it in the team, you could see it, every supporter said it since, we'd have been gutted with a draw that game. And I think the team have been like we're gutted with a draw, we want to win this, and that's how the box has been emptied, and there's been nobody at the back post. Sucker punch, and we end up with an absolute gut-wrenching loss in the end. But I think it's harsh to say we're naive and we're saying we're learning and all the rest of that. I don't think anybody's saying that. I thought it was a good performance. We deserved to win, and I think it is really unfortunate that we did lose, but that's football. I think we performed at a far lesser level than we did on Wednesday night, and we've got big results against other teams. So I don't think it's a shit thing to say. It's not the same thing we're saying this is a good performance.
When was the last time we got a big result in the Champions League, mate? But and we've had good results in Europa League against Lazio home and away, fair enough. But the Champions League, we haven't performed.
Because we haven't had that, but we did perform on Wednesday. Just because we didn't get the result.
Mate.
I know, but you're saying we're all naive and we're learning. We're not saying that. We performed on Wednesday night.
No, I'm not saying you said it. I'm not saying you said it.
And we performed and showed that we can compete at that level. And
that's the problem. You're saying that as well, by the way, because we've not won in so long. If we had won last season one game and we played here, you wouldn't be saying what you're saying now. It's because of this fucking record, and you want to get it off our back. That was an excellent performance. We're just unlucky to get on the wrong side of the result. But even in the big results in the sorry, Ross, some of the big results in the past as well, like, it has been a bit backs against the wall, and we've managed to, but we've been clinical with the one or two chances we've taken. I feel like now, or in the past few years, we've actually been a better footballing side. We just can't keep the fucking ball at the net on the other side. And
that's the biggest issue.
I actually think as a footballing side, we're better than we were when we were getting these big results, because the big results for me, a lot of the time, were we had to defend really well and backs against the wall, and then we were more clinical. And I think that's the only difference at the moment.
But you say we were more clinical. I touched on it earlier. I think on Wednesday night we were clinical. We made one clear-cut chance in the first half and we took it. We made Maeda went through, but his first touch takes him a bit wide. It's not a clear-cut chance. Probably for me, the next clear-cut chance we make is the Palma one, and he scores it. we didn't, as I said, we didn't make as many chances as we did the previous season under Ange, and we were missing all the chances under Ange, and we said we need to take it into next season now and finish the chances. But it's a different team, it's a different style of play, so we're not making as many chances. But the chances we have made on Wednesday night, I don't think it can be argued. We took them, albeit that one of them was with a technicality, if you want to put it that way.
It's not, Ross. It's not a different team though.
Well, what I mean by that is it's a different style of football. So I don't expect this Celtic team to make as many chances as we did last season. Had this been the Ange team and we were making all the chances, chances are we maybe wouldn't be we might be as clinical, and we've given ourselves more opportunities to score goals. But this team don't do that. This team play a different way. It's more pragmatic. And as much as I liked the way we approached it last season, I liked the way we approached the game on Wednesday night. It wasn't gung ho, but it also wasn't like, it also wasn't like giving Lazio too much respect. We took the game to Lazio. Everybody wanted the ball. Nobody had. We were all playing with confidence. And you said it was naive after the goal to let them then come back into it. I think that's the wrong word to use. I think it was, for whatever reason, after a goal, teams like Celtic in Europe maybe set off. There's that wee seed in their mind, right, we need to protect what we've got, because in the past, we've lost goals really quick after getting a goal. I think that, along with the monkey in your back, you're getting this Champions League win, I think that all culminates into the way where we not went into our shells, but allowed Lazio to have the ball. Right, let's be a bit more solid and get to half time, maybe this 1-0 lead. It transpired that they couldn't defend a corner, and they should have probably just been taking the game to Lazio the way they had been. But I don't think Celtic at any point, I don't think at any point in that game they were naive. Even right at the very end, when they emptied the box, it's probably the wrong thing to do. Again, I don't think it's naivety.
That's naivety.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is, because they're sort of like, the balls come out and they're like, right, let's get pushed up the park because we need to get up the park. We don't want to lose this goal. But then the ball goes into Carter Vickers. It was a silly pass. And for me, I don't think Carter Vickers makes a mistake. I don't blame Carter Vickers, because when he receives the ball, he's pretty much got three men round about him. He's got nowhere to go. He's in a cul-de-sac, if you like, and the ball gets nicked. But then we're turned, and then we're struggling. But it's no naivety for me. It's just a bit of, what's the word? Eagerness to get up the park. They were just a bit too eager to get back up the park and push Lazio back, but then they lose the ball and they get turned over. And with quality teams, once you're turned over, you're really struggling, and that proved. But sorry, I know I'm going to win. No. I don't think you can say that Celtic haven't learned, because that performance was as good as I've seen it. And listen, I can sit here and say it. I wasn't playing the game. Matt O'Reilly played the game. He's better placed than any of us to say how that game went. And he said that is the best performance he's had in Europe with a Celtic team. For me, that says it all. I think Celtic performed really, really well, and they deserve to win the game. I don't think there was any naivety. I just think that, I keep going back to it, and I know it's the rules, but if you get away with that, we win that game, then we're talking about how it was such a controlled performance and all the rest of it, instead of we're naive, we're this, it's the same old story. One thickness of leather changes the full narrative of a game where we weren't naive, where we were the best team, and we played really good football, and we played like we belonged at that level, for me.
Look, I get that, right? But we always talk about fine margins. For me, the fine margins are more than being clinical. The fine margins is no one to defend, no one to press, no one had to shape up as a team. And I felt like for me, especially at the last instance of the game, literally one of the last kicks of the ball, regardless if we emptied the box, but the players to me were all running one direction, that was towards the ball, which left a big, massive gaping hole at the back post for the smallest man on the pitch to get in and head it back across Joe Hart. Not blaming Joe Hart here in any instance at all. He had no chance for the goal. I thought it was a great header. That for me is the fine margins. We spoke about it last season. Doesn't matter if it's a different style of play. You learn to be streetwise. Lazio, Italian teams in general, German teams are really streetwise in Europe, and it just feels like to me Celtic lack that bit of know-how. No, but the wee bit of experience to see you through a game like that, the wee bit of experience to know when to take it easy as a team, but like that to me is naivety. I don't think you can say it's eagerness. Like Callum McGregor to me should be turning around to the back forward the 94th minute, whatever it was when they scored, to be like, stay where you are.
I think it's inexperience, not naivety.
But inexperience is naivety, Ross.
No, it's no.
Yes.
You can be inexperienced and play a really good game and win it. Inexperience doesn't mean naive. It doesn't for me. I'm not buying into that.
I don't think the players were happy with a draw, and I agree with them because we should have won that game. And I think that's what's. I think eager is possibly the right word because we were wanting that goal, and I think they can see it in the team that they want this monkey off the back with this whole fucking winless streak, because I think it can affect, and I think it is affecting, because moments like this, if we had a win or two in the Champions League last year, we wouldn't be talking about this here right now. We'd be talking about how that was a very good performance, and it was. But because we've not won in so long, what are you doing that for?
But they didn't win. We're saying if. It's all ifs.
Yeah, and you're saying it's the exact same with you. Oh, you're getting it as we've not won in so long or whatever, but we're talking about how it's fine managers. I don't understand how you can't see that and you're getting it all the fucking sign and all this when I'm trying to explain something to you and you just totally disregard what it is.
I'm not disregarding it.
You are. You just say, we didn't win. We didn't win, though. But that's not what, you're not listening to what we're trying to say. That's what's frustrating about it. You're telling me that if we did win last year, you'd be having the same conversation now about us not winning this game. You would have been saying that was a brilliant performance and we fucked it in the end, which we did. But so do big teams. There's teams make the same sort of mistakes. Lazio made the mistake for Palmer's goal, the exact same. Nobody in the back post and he was there and scored. Unfortunately, we got it offside. Just because it was in the last minute, I think we were trying to win that game and that's it. I hate this whole narrative. But we didn't win though. Bearing in mind as well, we're also playing with our fifth choice centre half, who we're going to talk about him. He's been fucking excellent. We've got a fifth choice centre half. We've got a centre half that's had about 20 minutes of football since he's came in playing a half, and then we bring who's one of our best players back, but he's not played since the semi-final at Scottish Cup last season. But no, we've still to beat fucking Barcelona's and Bayern Munich's and all the rest of it. There needs to be a sense of realism.
I get that, right? No, 100%. I don't know who you were talking to there. No, I get that, right? Look, I'm not disregarding anything. We all have different opinions. You see the chat is divided, Willie. I mean, everyone's talking about different things, and that's fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Sam Fran agrees with you, John agrees with me, and people are in between. That's fair. But the way I look at it is, we can't be happy. Look, I did say the second half was probably the best I've seen in Europe in a while. But we can't be accepting good performances all the time and not getting the results. I mean,
not accepting it.
No, but I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying Willie and Ross are accepting it. I'm saying from my point of view, it's like we're waking up the next day being like, yeah, again, we competed, we had a couple of shots on target. It's great. And you're all about to win this one run, Willie, which, by the way, you're right to point out. So what I would ask you then, does that win this run not bother you in any sort of way? Like, are you happy? Are you happy just seeing us play well and then eventually coming up short and then just? But no, but I'm only asking. I'm not saying you are. I'm asking.
I told you on Friday and on Wednesday, right after the game. What did I say? I'm fucking absolutely.
You were fuming. You were fuming.
Absolutely sick of us going out and performing well, and then it's one silly mistake or one unlucky decision or something that ends up where we don't get the result that we deserve. I'm absolutely sick to back teeth at, but I'm not. I'm not going to pick holes in that team on Wednesday night because I thought they were absolutely excellent, and I just think it's unfortunate we didn't get the win. Of course, I'm sick of it, but I'm sick of it because I see all over social media people saying we've no won in 10 years, which, by the way, it's like 10 or 11 games. I know that's still shocking. I agree. We should have won more games than that. But it's this whole. It makes it sound far worse than it is. Yes, it's shit. I agree. It's terrible. We should be winning more games than that in the Champions League. But we haven't, and that's it. And see this stuff, it just fuels it more. Oh, we are shit. We are shit. We've no won in 10 years. We're shit. We've lost another game again. Rather than looking at it and going, we were fucking excellent. We should have won that game. Yes, it's shit. I'm fuming as well. I'm really angry. Transfer window, we should be spending 100 million. I want to spend 100 million too, but it's not plausible. Everybody just keeps recycling the same shit over and over again, and it gets me worked up. And that's why I was so annoyed Wednesday night. I wasn't annoyed. I was annoyed we got beat, but I was more annoyed because all I could think of was everybody's just going to come out again and say we're not good for this level. Yep. The transfer window was shit. The transfer window on that game, we didn't lose because of the transfer window. They guys went out there and showed that they could win that game. They didn't get the result, but they could win that. They could have won that game. 100%. So it just fuels all that, and that's why I get fucking annoyed.
People feel vindicated because Celtic lost the other night because
I don't feel vindicated. I'm not saying you.
I'm not saying you. But there's been a lot of people mumping their gums over the summer. We should have done this. We should have done that. And they lose that game. They don't want Celtic to lose that game, but when they do, they feel vindicated and they ignore everything that went before that and concentrate on that last second where we lost the goal, and it's naive and it's this and it's that. When actually, but for the width, I'll say it again, the width of a piece of leather on a boot, Hatate forearm smashed to Hatate's face. Fine margins. People talk about it all the time. That's a fine margin. That doesn't touch Maeda's boot. It's a goal. Hatate, the boy gets sent off, which he should have. We've all said it. If he gets sent off and they get down to 10 men and we're 1-0 up and controlling the game, it's difficult for Lazio to get in and out of that game. And I think Celtic kick on. You can't say for sure. But these are the fine margins. And if they go our way on another night, the whole narrative changes. I've said it 3 or 4 times, and it does. I don't think anybody can argue that. It's the fickleness of football. It's so frustrating. And I'm like, Wally, I'm sick to the back teeth. Every time Celtic lose a game, people just go back and harp on about we should have done this in the window, we should have signed this, we should have spent that. It's fucking boring, right? We didn't. We are sitting here. There's absolutely nothing we can do to change the team and squad we've got, right, until January. We won't make any great changes in January. I don't know what we're going to do next summer, but right now, this is what we've got to work with. Brendan Rodgers is not absolutely delighted with the way things went, but he's working with the team, and I think he's doing a terrific job with the players he's got. Every time a result goes against us, we need to stop going back to this and that. It's in the past. It's done. This is the team we've got. Support it. Look forward. See what we can do. Celtic should have won that game on Wednesday night. They might not win a game in this Champions League, but they might. If they play like that and a couple of things go their way, there's every chance we'll get 1 or 2 results. We won't get out this group now. It's too much to do. But please, please stop going back to we should have done this, we should have done that, because it's fucking draining and it's shite.
It's draining a leaf at me as well. By the way, I've been bringing the comments up. There's lots of disagreements, which is fine. I think this is what we're here for, debate. What I would say, there's people saying ifs, ifs and buts, and if my granny had balls, she'd be my grand and all that as well. But what I would say to that is I could say the exact same thing about people saying if we bought 2 £10 million players in the transfer window, would be bossing at the Champions League. That's an if, a but, and if my granny had balls as well. For me, we could have been less successful. So, like, that's what we're here today. We're all here to debate these things.
Well, you take it, right? If we'd spent, right, let's go back to the Lennon time, right? He spent £7 million on Julian. He spent £5 million on Ayeti, and he spent £5 or £6 million on Barkas, right? There's 3 players. The sort of money that we wanted us to spend on players, right? They were pish. Julian was good, but he didn't make us do much. Okay, we got the win against Lazio at home. I take that into consideration, but they didn't take us on to new levels. They didn't do it in the Champions League. We didn't qualify for the Champions League with these guys. Ayeti was absolutely garbage. Barkas, absolutely garbage, right? It doesn't guarantee you. I accept that on paper it gives you a better chance, but it does not guarantee you that we're going to go out and instead of losing that game in the last minute, we win it in the last minute. It doesn't guarantee you that. But signing the £3-6 million players weren't going to make us beat Lazio 3 or 4-1. They just weren't. It's so difficult to win at that level, especially for a team like Celtic at the financial that they're operating in. Listen, we all want Celtic to spend more money. I have to admit that I do think they should have spent that more money, but I still have to match it up with the fact that it doesn't guarantee that we could sign the players and still go through that full 6-game campaign and not win a game. But Willie, I think you absolutely nailed it earlier when you said that on Wednesday night we didn't lose that game because we didn't spend £6-7 million on 3 players. We lost that game just on margins, fine margins,
naivety.
Slight technicalities. wasn't naivety. Celtic are so close. They're so close. And I know, Stephen, I take your point. You keep saying it. We can't keep making excuses. I don't feel like I'm making excuses on this occasion. In this game in isolation, I don't think I'm making excuses. I think I'm looking at the game as a whole and thinking we really, really did play well in that game. In large spells, we weren't as penetrative as you would like me to be, but the chances we did make, we took, and I think we're very close. And listen, we could go and play Atletico Madrid and get beat 3-0, and then you say you're miles away again. But Atletico Madrid, for me, albeit Lazio got a draw against them, are a better team than Lazio by a considerable distance. They're a better team than Celtic by a considerable distance. So it's a mountain to climb to get a result in that game. We could come out of the 2 Atletico Madrid games and be sitting here having played 4 with no points. That game on paper, I have to admit, was probably the game we had the best chance of taking 3 points in, and we didn't do it. And that is my biggest disappointment. That is the game that you looked at and went, that's the 3 points out of all of them that you would say you were favourites to take it for. But there's 4 games to play. It's going to be very difficult. You look at the Feyenoord game. I think that's a game we can win at home if we play like we did. And again, fine margins go your way. You look at the Lazio game away. I think it's a game that if we play as well as we did, we can really look at a point in that game. But things have to go your way. Wee bits of luck as well as playing well. Celtic are so close. I don't care what anybody says. They are so close. And I'm not quite happy with what they're doing, but I think they're going the right way. They are going in the right direction. Again, people will say, we're not playing as good football as we did last season. It's a different manager, a different style. It doesn't look as good in the eye, but Brendan Rodgers is getting to the end product, if you like, winning a league title, etc. He's just doing it a different way for Ange. It might not be as exciting, but he'll still get the same end result as what Ange did, in my opinion.
And an ad, Stephen?
I mean, for me, my opinion doesn't change from what I said on Monday. Like, I take what you are saying on board 100%, but at the end of the day, I think Thomas Burns said it in the comments, or I can't remember, but he said, because we invested that amount before and we got stung doesn't mean we shouldn't do it again. I know you're not saying that, Rob. I know you're not saying that, but look, at the end of the day, I mean, you said we're close, mate. I totally disagree with you 100%. We are not close to being a Champions League club.
I'm not close to winning.
Close to being
I know I asked this question, I think. So what is a Champions League club then?
A Champions League club is a club who actually turns up, Willie, and is ambitious and wants to do well in European football. That, to me, is a Champions League club.
So what's well? Is well qualifying through the group
picking
stage?
Up points, mate. Winning games, putting points on the board. We all want that. No one's saying we don't want that. I'm just frustrated. Like you all are. By the way, that's fair enough. Well, you were fuming after the game, and I know that people are fuming as well in the comments. But it's like, it just feels like to me it's deja vu from last year. Like, we talked about competing against Madrid for 45 minutes. We talked about about the Shakhtar Donetsk games at great length, how we should have done better. We're doing the exact same thing this year. And look, I'm not going back to the transfer window. I've made up my point abundantly clear on that. I thought we should have invested a lot more money. We should have took gambles on certain players, which we didn't. So I'm not going to go back into that. But what I will say, I'm not going to sit here and accept playing well over points. I would take points over playing well any day of the week in European football, 100%. I'm not saying, by the way, I'm reiterating it. I'm not saying anyone's saying that.
No,
I'm
not saying that you're saying that, but that's what frustrates me because because I'm saying certain things, people think that it's like, oh, well, so it's all right, we just turn up then. I'm like, no, but if I look at reality, like I can understand why. And yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna have a go at the team for.
Do you think? See, to be fair, like, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think like I know they had Immobile and maybe Alberto to a certain extent, but Lazio weren't glittering with talent all over the pitch. That's what annoys me.
I know they have got some big names.
Guendouzi came on and changed the game.
I don't think they were that great, to be honest with you. But I think a lot of that was to do with our play as well, right enough. But but no, like I totally agree with what you're saying about like, of course we need to pick up points, like we need to. But that's why I don't understand. I need this definition of a Champions League team because for me, like I've said 100 times,
we aren't. Celtic aren't.
Last 20 years though, like this bring back the thunder, bring back the glory days. We've only qualified through it 3 times. We've never really been like a. If that's the narrative, if that's what you want to do, get out that group stage. We've never really been a Champions League team then. So
I agree with that.
I just think there needs to be a sense of realism. But then I say that, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, you're happy with turning up. We're just going to do this, do that." No, I think with the team this year and last year, I think we're more capable of getting through. We've just we've not been nowhere near clinical enough, and we've made silly mistakes. And at this level, we can afford to do that in the league. We can still win 3 or 4.
Did you any of you see the picture going about our home form pre-2010? No. So basically,
from
2000,
but with
all in bar one.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I did see that.
And then after it seemed, I think 1-3 and lost like 17 or whatever it may be, it's something like that. I don't have the picture to show. I pulled that there. Look, it's all about debate, about opinion. People, look, it's fine. I got hard-headed on Monday because it does piss me off that the whole Champions League debate. Well, to be fair, you're 100% correct, mate. I totally agree with you. The definition of a Champions League club is what Celtic aren't at the minute. Maybe close to winning a few games in European football, that's fair enough. But Europa League to me is probably our level. And it's disappointing for me to say that because look, at the end of the day, we love the club. We all do. We hold it to the highest regard. We know it's a world-renowned support. We know our history is up there with the best. But see now, it just isn't that. It's we turn up to the Champions League now and we could be playing at Leipzig, playing at Lazio, playing at Donetsk, and it ends up the same way. Yeah, we play well in fits and starts, but to me, lads, the result is more important than the performance, and it always will be, in my opinion. I don't care. Like the Barcelona game, like you said, Willie, we were hammered for 90-odd minutes, but a team with Charlie Mulgrew, with Miku up front, with people like that, managed to beat them. Tony Watt scoring the final goal in the end, and that to me shouldn't be out of our grasp again. I just think. I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what it is now with Celtic in Europe. It just seems everything goes against us in a way, where the slightest run of play, they break, they score a goal, we deflate, and then it continues. It's a cycle. And I don't know if it's a mental block, but like Ross said, these players change year in, year out. We get new signings in, so I don't really know if it's that. But I don't want to get angry again because it annoys me. It does, and it really annoys me. It grates my gears, and the record's piss poor. We all laugh at Rangers. We all have a great laugh at them being beat by that Cyprus club. But see, to be fair to this, and I'm going to be honest, they have a fucking better European record than us in the last 10 years. So that's my opinion. It's we need to buck up our ideas in Europe big time.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I totally agree. We need results, but at the same time, what have we done in the past 20 years before that? We've picked up points. We've got
2003 Seville.
But how many times have we? Yeah, right. Okay, so there's one example. Yeah, and we were brilliant in that run. But again, that was Europa League. So the Champions League team, that's not. So moving forward, so even throughout all the years, yeah, we've picked up points. We've had some big results, but we've never been very successful in the Champions League. Our our success has mainly been for dropping or down or playing in the Europa League. So I just think that because we've been so successful domestically these last 9-10 years, winning every trophy that's been on offer, I think people kind of put us on a bit of a higher pedestal in Europe and think we should be doing better. Whereas we've never really been massively successful. Yes, of course we need to get more results. Of course, it's not good enough. Some of the guys are saying and here, and I agree, are saying about how Europe's just a different ball game now, and the money in it's fucking killing us and all the rest of that. Yeah, I agree. But I still think we can compete, and I still think we should be getting points. And I think Wednesday night we showed that, even though we didn't. I know that sounds like the stupidest thing you could ever say in your life. And
I get what you mean.
I was fuming on Wednesday night, absolutely fuming, because we should never be losing that game. But I mean, it's football. We could go on and talk about that all night. But
Sorry, just before you move on, my thing as well is I totally agree with you, Stephen. Right, results are more important than performances. Points on the board are more important. Of course, it is. But see, when you're coming up short, right, the only thing you can do is try and look at the positives, try and look at the game, try and take positives for it. If Celtic were going out and getting beat 5-6, 7-0 like they have in the past, I'd be like, we're miles off it, absolutely miles off it. This is shocking. But I'm looking at games and we're competing and we're very close. That's all I'm saying is, I'm trying to take the positives out of the performance because the result isn't there. And because there is a lot of positives in the performance, it gives me hope that the results will come. It's going to be very difficult. But for me, that's why I think Celtic are close, because they're not getting scudded 6-7-0 when they're no in games. They're in games. And eventually, when you keep putting yourselves in games and in with a chance, the result will come. It has to. Low averages say it will. We've got a monkey in our back, and it's like what it was like, for example, for a wee while going to Livingston. With a monkey in our back, we couldn't get a result there. We eventually got a result, and then we've not been beat there for however long. I know it's a lot easier for Celtic to get a result at Livingston, but you get my sentiments in that we're very close, and that's what I hold on to. People might slag me for that, but as I say, if we were getting pumped in these games, I would have nothing to hold on to. I would have no hope, and I wouldn't be able to defend the team. But Celtic are giving me positives to look at and hold on to. And if they keep putting themselves in games, a result will come. It will.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Can I? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Of course, jump in.
I was going to say, like, you don't have to answer. Obviously, there's a long way left in the group stage, 4 games. He's not a bit concerned that we could end up matching the worst performing team last year.
Yeah,
I'm a bit concerned.
I was going to come on to that.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry.
I just want to touch on a few of the players, right? We'll move on a wee bit. We've kind of touched on them mostly the night anyway, but I'll go 2 at a time just to fire through. But Stephen, Maeda, I mean, is he the most frustrating player you've ever seen in a Celtic shirt? Because he does so many good things, but also, I mean, there's a couple of occasions he's through and he's just not got that clinical edge, has he, at all? It's really frustrating, but it was frustrating for me anyway. I don't know what you're thinking. Also, just skills. He's been absolutely. He was like been like a 5th or 6th choice centre half this year, and he's been an absolute stalwart since he's came in. He's been excellent.
I think Maeda, as Ross said, he's a terrible footballer, but you can't do without him in the team. He makes me laugh. He tries and his heart's in the right place, but 9 times out of 10, that touch has ended up as a goal kick or a throw. And even when he tries to do a simple pass, just thankfully though, he found Matt O'Reilly with a good pass, and obviously that goal we talked about at the start of the podcast. But I mean, Maeda is work rate in the Champions League, especially. I think I've seen a stat saying that he's up there with Alphonso Davies, Mbappe, and players like that with speed and all. I think he was 4th out of the 10 who was on that list, which was quite good, especially in Champions League football. So we need him in that team for the work rate, for the constant energy to go up the pitch. And he offers you a different dimension through the middle if Kugo needs to go off as well in European football, in my opinion. Liam Scales, wow. I remember, again, I'll go back to it, my reaction when he was starting the game at Ibrox. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But since that, I've had like shed loads of humble pie, mate, and I'm going to the gym, so I need to work this shit off. Do you know what I mean? But he's been excellent. I think what I love about him, by the way, I know Postecoglou brought in Kobayashi to be that left-footed centre half. Scales is better in my opinion. He's so good passing the ball. He's so good linking up the play. He lacks a bit of pace, maybe a bit of pace for the top level, but he's getting through at the minute with us. And look, alongside even Larkin alongside him, I thought was decent. People were slating him, but I think Larkin will come onto the game. He wasn't bought to be first choice. Scales got a call up for Ireland, Sean the Mac as well, off the back of his good form. He can't drop him. Even if Vickers is back fully fit, you cannot drop Scales. And that for me is mental to say. That is crazy to say, to be in this position where we're going, we can't drop Scales, and it's just a testament to the fella. I'm sure he's shocked himself how much he's come on to the game. And there's always that saying, you play with better players, you end up being a better player yourself, isn't it? So, and I know at Aberdeen he was playing in a back three, maybe that didn't suit him, but he's really come on to a game of his own. And I think he bailed out Taylor a lot of times in that game. I think Taylor was found wanting in some areas of in that game, and he was covering at left back as well. So great all round performances. And honestly, I think someone said a leader. Granted, yeah, he's brilliant. Pam, like he's definitely a leader of the team at the minute. And for me, for even saying it's mad, but he's done it. He's deserved it. He's took his opportunity, and it's great to see.
It's crazy we're all talking about. Everybody in the comments is absolutely like flying the colours for him. I think he's the best thing since sliced bread. Who would have thought that 2 months ago? It's absolute madness. This is football. Ross, I think you touched on Scales earlier as well. Said he was awesome. Give us just a wee quick thought as him, but Maeda, like I think he can be a massive weapon at this level as well, because like you've seen it in the first goal. He takes that ball into his stride, and when he gets it right, he gets it right. But it just seems like, and what we talk about, what we think we're lacking at this level, and the whole clinical edge or that final ball, it seems like Maeda's just not got that at times.
Aye, I mean, you said it there. I think he could be a massive weapon for us, which he can be, but he can also be a massive weapon. But
I knew that was coming.
It was set up. I had to take it. But say Maeda in the SPL, right? He'll get, exaggerating, right? He'll get 17 chances, right? And then he'll make an arse 17, and then the 18th one he'll score, and you forget about the 17 because he's had so many chances. Whereas in the Champions League, he doesn't get as many. He'll get 2 or 3, and he ballsies up all 3 of them, and you think, you are such a shit football player. But his work rate, what he does for the team, is frightening, and he has to be in the team. He's one of the first names on the team sheet for me. I've said it numerous times when you go to Ibrox, and when you play these big European ties, home or away, he has to be in the team. We can't do without him. In terms of Liam Scales, same as Stephen, I can't believe how well he's done if he's come in. I had him out the door, surplus to requirements, whatever you want to call it. But he's come in. I watched him on Wednesday. He's come in, he's done brilliant for Celtic. I watched him Wednesday night quite closely, and listen, he had a brilliant performance. There was a couple of wee hairy moments in there, but he got away with it, and I cut him slack on it because for me, I think it was San Fran Celtic had said in the comments, and I thought it myself. I fully agree with him. Liam Scales was the one that was. He was the one playing the pass out for the back, and he wasn't just playing like that pass over to Greg Taylor and allowing their forward to then press Greg Taylor, or playing it across to Matt Phillips, which he was at times, but he was the one that was taking the risk and saying, I'm going to play that harder pass, that more difficult pass, through the lines and take that striker out the game, not allow him to press Greg Taylor and bypass him. He was the one taking the risk, playing the balls. And for me, that was the biggest surprise, was that it was him that was taking the responsibility and doing that. The guy that was out the door, surplus to the requirements, was going to go to Aberdeen. I can't praise him enough. He's been absolutely outstanding, and Stephen called it. But I mean, I've sung Greg Taylor's praises. he was He's been good the last couple of games, but he was really targeted, especially in that first half. He was really targeted with that ball over the top. Lazio constantly went for it, and people say caught out of position, whatever. I don't think he was caught out of position. I just think Lazio were targeting it, and the ball was really precise most of the time, knowing that he is that bit smaller, and it was going over his head, and Liam Scales was coming across and bailing him out. That's what your teammate has to do. If your teammate's been targeted, you have to help him out. I think Greg Taylor on that side missed Maeda, that protection for him. But Maeda, you probably have to say, has to start on the right because Yang or Palma are playing, and we've not got Abada. But aye, Liam Scales, I cannot praise the guy enough. I'm actually a wee bit proud of him. It's like
I thought you were tearing up. I thought you were tearing up.
But it's my eyes actually. But honestly, what that guy's done in the last month or two it's nothing short of remarkable, and he can only be commended for it. And he has been commended, and rightly so. And he's been rewarded with that call up to Ireland squad. But again, the most impressive part for me was the fact that he was the one taking responsibility and playing that pass, that more difficult pass to get us out. Wasn't he always coming off? But for the most part, it did. And the ones that didn't come off, I just commend him for being brave to do that at this level when he's not. I think that's his first or second Champions League appearance. So, outstanding.
My day. John Kerr's tears up watching him as well, mate. It's not just you. So
I think he means in a different way.
I want to go on next. There's actually been a lot in the comments about him, and I was going to touch on him next anyway, and I might have a slightly different opinion, so I want to throw it out there because I've seen a lot of clamour in our group chat on Wednesday. But Rio Hatate, Ross.
Fuck
what
me.
Did you think of him on Wednesday night?
I thought he was pretty poor, to be honest with you. I thought he was 6 out of 10 at best. For me, I think he's got all the ability in the world. He's got all the passing ability in the world. He's a very, very good footballer. It's no up for debate. But I think sometimes at this level, he really frustrates me watching him because I don't know if it's he believes he's better than what he is, or if it's a lack of concentration, or just a bit of lackadaisical. I really can't put my finger on it, but he plays sometimes blind passes. It's like he doesn't know what's going on round about him sometimes, or he's playing off the cuff. And listen, he's maybe trying to get used to the way Brendan Rodgers plays, and he's still trying to play that quick one touch sort of football. I don't. I really can't put my finger on it. Listen, he's. I don't think Hatate's fully up to speed in terms of his fitness yet. I think he's also still, because he hasn't played as many games as, like, say, O'Reilly, McGregor, guys that you know are going to be first picks in the team. He's not played as many games, so maybe taking him a wee bit longer to get used to this Brendan Rodgers style. The Ange style is ingrained in him because he's played under him for so long. I don't know, but for me, you need guys like Hatate to step up to the plate in these games, and he didn't on Wednesday night. He might in games to come. He had moments. He had that, obviously, the free kick. He had a really good pass. Can't mind who it was to.
Ball at the top to Maeda when he crossed it for Kyogo.
That's it. That was the one. So he had moments, but he gave the ball away a lot for me. Too much, anyway. And he was disappointing. You need him to. Well, hopefully by the time the next game comes around, he'll be obviously have played more games. He'll be more fitter, and he'll be more used to what Rodgers is asking him to do. But right now, I wouldn't have him out of the team, but he's not showing the levels that we've seen for Hatate when he came in and under Ange. But I think he can get back to that. I've absolutely no doubt about it.
Just before I come to you, Stephen, I just want to. This is what I love about this thing we've got in our chats. Strange Loves disagreed with Coin Wizard, and Coin Wizard says that's okay. We're allowed to disagree because that doesn't happen in society nowadays.
Yeah,
It's my opinion rules also. The comments are great, and there's very rarely any animosity. The guys are all great, and I love the debate. So, Stephen, Hatate, his performance on Wednesday night wasn't his best. I was actually going to. I'll come back to Ross as well after you. But do you think that that's to do with this new? Because for me, under Angie he was on number 8, and that was it. Nobody was taking that number 8 position from him, and everybody said O'Reilly was on number 10. And it seems like under Rodgers they've kind of switched roles. And Hatate, when we press, Hatate's almost a number 9 for me. It turns into like a 4-4-2. Do you think that he's still trying to adjust to that? Do you think it's fitness? Do you think his head's turned? What's your thoughts, and what was your thoughts on him on Wednesday night?
He may be adjusting to the new style of play in terms of when to press, what position he's actually in, because you're right, he looks like a number 10 now. O'Reilly's that box-to-box midfielder. Roger has definitely switched him about. But he's still picking the ball up in the same positions that he was under Postecoglou. It's not like he's picking the ball up and he's inside the box and he's trying to make a decision from there. I just think, for me, he tries to body check players too much. He tries to roll them, and he does it in the SPFL and gets away with it. But in Europe, they know what he's going to do. Like Ross said, he's always he's facing the byline all the time. He's never really face on. And when he does go face on in European football, he makes a silly mistake and he loses the ball, and then the team's counter-attacking us. The fitness could be an issue, that's 100%. But to me, it's the basics with Hatate at the minute. In Europe, I've noticed he's not doing the greatest. The simple 5-yard pass, he's not doing it well. The simple dribble past one player, he's not quite putting it off. And I watched him. There was a point when Lazio broke, and he was trying to catch one of their players and ended up about 10 yards away from him. His pace, his speed wasn't there in the game, in my opinion. And like what Ross said, it's frustrating because we know the levels. And I think that's a great point by James. Awada shouldn't be that far into the picture. He should be in and around that.
There's a lot in the comments asking for Awada to be.
But for me, Rio, he will get back to the level, 100%. But he's not playing the greatest. Yeah, I totally agree with Peg. Like there in terms of Bernardo, it's the basics for me with Rio at the minute. And look, it will come back to him. But he was a passenger for me against Lazio. He was an absolute passenger.
I hear you, and I agree. Obviously, it was not anywhere near his best game for us, and there was some slack passing at times. But I thought a lot of the stuff that I seen on social media and even tonight in the comments, I thought was a bit harsh on him. I thought, like Ross mentioned, there's 2 big moments in the game. He puts Maeda in, and if he does better, that could lead to a goal. And then there's the free kick, obviously, which is obviously a dead ball situation. But if that goes in, I think we're having a different conversation. And I think it's these moments in Champions League, especially, where can win games. And I don't think he's far away. And I said before the group stage started that we need to get him fit and firing if we've got any chance. And I still believe that. I still think he's, if not a top player, one of our top players. And if we get him firing, O'Reilly's flying at the moment. I just think that midfield pairing is a scary thought. So hopefully, but I do agree he's not hitting anywhere near the levels that he should be. What was that?
Oh, I got a cramp in my calf a wee bit and I was trying to stretch it out.
I thought it was a wee trouser cough.
Aye, so did that. Aye. I thought it was a wee tap.
I like you shake yourself on the live podcast from Ellie's Bar.
I don't know what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about, Steve.
What I want to talk on, because we're talking about players, I know we're running on a wee bit, but we're talking about some of the player performances. We've already kind of had. I had Yang and the Palma debate here, but we've already kind of had that. I think you both had your 2 cents about that. But it's I kind of wanted to touch on our bench, Ross. I'll come to you first. Do you think the bench is strong enough? I mean, there's obviously like for like in certain positions, and I think the little we've seen in Bernardo, I think he could be a player. Likes of home, Yang or Palma. But even though I don't know if this is just me, even though Hatate didn't have a great game, when he was getting subbed off, I was like, just because I think he can make that one pass or that one moment of magic that can win us a game. And I want to hear your thoughts on the bench, but more importantly for me is seems like every game, the moment Kyogo's coming off with 20 minutes to go and we're bringing on, and I don't want to get any like a big debate on all, because I mean we've talked about it for till as long as the day is, and like he does seem like a player, but when Kyogo goes off and he's coming on, and I think we're needing a goal, I'm like, Jesus Christ, and it's no a slant on all, because I do think he's like he brings something different, but it's not. And I don't want to go back to Gigi, but when Gigi came on with 20 minutes to go, you're thinking this boy can get us a goal, and I don't feel that way with O. And I don't know if I'm feeling similar because we've not seen as much of Bernardo and some of the other boys, but I'm not thinking this guy can come on and win this game. Is that a bit harsh, or what do you think? What do you think about the bench in Europe in general? I mean,
no, I would agree with your sort of assumption, summation. I would agree with that. For me, you look at it and you look at the bench. You've touched on the guys: Home, Bernardo, O, whether it be Palmer or Yang. We've got guys on the bench who can come on, and let's say they can come on and help the team, but we've not got game changers to come off the bench. Guys that can come on and go, right, we need this game to change. We need to change what we're doing here and get the game to swing in our favour. Not got guys that come on and do that. You don't look to, as much as I've said he looks like he could be a good player. He's not shown it under Brendan Rodgers, but again, he was out injured. He's coming back. He's getting up to speed. He's getting 5 minutes here and there. It's difficult for him to make impacts in games. So it's maybe harsh to say that. But right now, when you look at it in the face of it, you have to say we've got guys that can come on and help the team, but we've not got guys that can come on and change a game in an instant. They guys are already on the park, and even they guys at the minute are probably few and far between. Certainly in Europe, domestically we've got it in abundance, but in Europe they are few and far between. I like this Celtic team. I like what they're trying to do. Brendan Rodgers is, again, I've said it before, he's at the very start of his tenure, the very infancy. He's had one transfer window. He's took over a treble winning team, lost a couple of players, ravaged with injury. He's still getting results, still getting performances here and there. They look domestically like a hard team to beat in terms of they're solid, they keep the ball. I don't think this is a Brendan Rodgers team by any stretch right now. I think we'll get to that and we'll see that in the next couple of transfer windows. So I'm loath to sort of like slag the team or down cry them or whatever at the minute, because I understand that as much as Brendan Rodgers took over an Ange Postecoglou treble winning team, it's a different style of football, and this isn't a Brendan Rodgers team. This team is not what Brendan Rodgers sees the end. It's not the end game for him. There's a long way to go, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that will bring. But right now, I'm okay with the trajectory and the work they're doing. Could they do more in the transfer window? I know I said don't go back to it. Yes, they could, and I think they will in the coming windows. What that'll be, whether it'll be higher transfer fees or whatever, I don't know. But there'll be more signings made, and there'll be Brendan Rodgers signings. I'm sure of that.
I don't know if it's because, like I said, it's that feeling, Stephen. For me, I'm not saying that the bench isn't good enough myself. I feel like the likes of Bernardo and Home and these guys, I think could prove to be top signings, but I just don't think we've seen enough of them at the moment. And like I say, when the likes of Kyogo or Hatate go off, I don't know. I don't know if it's because I've not seen enough of them. I just kind of get that sinking feeling like these are our game winners going off here, and we need a goal. And I'm not so sure. Is it because I've not seen enough of them, or I'm still undecided yet. Do I feel that, unlike Ange, where we talked about it and the squad he was building, when he was switching somebody off, whether it was Kyogo for Gigi or O'Reilly for Rogic in the early days or whatever, whoever it was coming off, it was like for like. There doesn't seem to be a drop off. Do we feel now that there is a bit of a drop off between our established first 11 and the bench?
I mean, without going back to it, I think it ties back in with summer recruitment. The way to improve the bench is you upgrade the first team players and they eventually drop to the bench, and then in theory that's your game changers coming onto the pitch. Looking at the bench against Lazio, I mean, domestic level, everyone says we've got strength and depth, we've got players to call upon, but once it takes that step up to European football, we don't have that no more. And I think it's quite evident when you have Scott Bain and a young 17-year-old goalkeeper as your two backup choices on the bench. You've got a Ralston in there, albeit we all know we sell, but European level, no. James Forrest, for me, wouldn't make an impact in European level. Mikey Johnson, injury prone. These players, in my opinion, shouldn't be on the bench at that level. Domestically, you get away with that, that's fine. But now our bench, like you said, taking Kyogo off, but again, I think that's still precautionary because of his shoulder issue. I think Rodgers is trying to protect him a bit. I think in terms of, you look at, I mean, who else did you mention? Rio Hatate, you bring on Bernardo, he's still the unknown. We know he's a hot prospect from Benfica, but he hasn't really got a chance. Holding Thiago home looks a decent prospect. But again, it's not players, in my opinion, that can switch a game. If you need something to come on and change it and make a difference, no. Palma did, but that's because Palma's still come back into fitness. I think he will be first choice going forward once he builds that up. But it does tie back in with summer recruitment. There's no other way you can skate around this issue. It goes back to that. And Ross, you tried not to go back to it, but you referenced it, and I think it's fair enough. Like, to me, the only way to upgrade your squad is by upgrading the first team, and then the first team players that replace drop to the bench. And then that, to me, in theory, is your game changers. We don't have any of that at the minute. We're still kind of going with the unknown players we've brought in the summer. It's still exciting, don't get me wrong, but there's no player on that bench that would trust to come on. Like Willie said, if O comes on, we're still going, oh, we don't know what we're getting. We don't know what O's going to be playing. If Bernardo comes on, no one knows what he can produce. I don't even think no one knows what his best position is. I've heard people saying it's a 6 or a 10. That's up for debate. We don't know that much about him. So, yeah, it's the unknown, which is exciting. But for me, it's neglect in the transfer window.
Fair enough. I again, I said I've not made... I can't really decide as of yet because I think we need to see more of these guys. It seems like we've got a settled 11 at the moment. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of these guys, and then that'll change my mind. But I mean, I'm not one for criticising, and I like everybody calls me Wally Lawwell in the bloody comments because
that's mental, by the way.
But it's because I try to, like, obviously I'm like with my heart as well about the club, and I love it, and obviously I want these better things. But on this podcast, I try to take a step back out of that and just look at it for the outside with everything, and I make certain comments which I don't like, but I try to say that I can understand, and then people just jump in it and say that I'm Wally Lawwell. But if I was to criticise the window, I'm quite happy with what we've done. I think the players are going to be, I think they're going to come to fruition. I think Yang looks a player. I think Palma looks decent as well, and I think we've made some decent signings. Bernardo and home again, like you guys do. But I do think it's been a bit criminal that we didn't go out and get another striker, because I think if Kyogo gets injured, we're up shit creek without a paddle. I don't think O's going to get you the goals. I think he brings you something totally different, and I think he can go on to be a good player. But he's just not a goal scorer. And we've seen with Maeda, he gives you many qualities, but goal scoring is like clinical finishing is definitely not his forte. So if he's up front as well, yeah, he can cause problems, but I don't think he's going to score goals. And I think I think it's shown so far this season that Matt O'Reilly's our top goal scorer. He's been fabulous, but like other than Kyogo, I just feel like we've not maybe got that threat. And it was only on Wednesday night that when we were pushing for a goal, and I thought we were in the ascendancy and we scored, and I thought we'd won the game, and then we're drawing. I'm like, we should be winning this game. Like when we had the likes of O coming on, my heart kind of sank a bit, and it made me think, well, why am I feeling that? And I'm just like, because I just don't feel like he's the man that's going to get us the goal. So I thought it'd be interesting to see, but we'll see. I mean, like I say, hopefully in the next month or so, we see a bit more of these guys domestically, and we can judge them for there, because I'm not going to judge the likes of Home and Bernardo when we were only seeing 10, 20 minutes of them. My judgment on those, obviously, on a far bigger. When he first came in as well, he looked electric, and we were like, well, I'm not going to judge him. And again, it is harsh on the young lad, because he's the same. He's only getting 10, 15 minutes a game. But, and like Ross said, you didn't want to harp on back. But with Gigi, I just felt like you give him 5 minutes and he still gets a sniff and gets you a goal.
Aye.
I just don't see that, Leo. And I think it's maybe somewhere we're lacking. But what are we at now? No, 35, right? Let's try and get into the next.
The Friday team. The Friday team. We'll take it.
I'm going to
Now
touch
you've had
on...
a drink, Dave.
I know, the Champions League. Wait till I find this.
I don't want it.
Brendan Rodgers Champions League
Oh, fuck.
run. Because this is social media again. And this is yet another one of these that I think, personally, it's like that whole Livingston. By the way, we've not won at the Almondvale for 10 years. Well, they were in the fucking championship for 9 of the year. But you know what I mean? It's these. So I think this is another one of these stats. Rodgers, what is it? 20 games now he's had in the Champions League, and he's only won 2 of them.
Two.
But when you look at the teams, Stephen, I'm going to come to you first, and you can give me your opinion, because I know you're just going to slate them anyway. But the teams we've faced, he's played Barcelona. This was at Celtic. Barcelona lost twice. Man City drew twice. I know it's not great, but it's not losing. Borussia Mönchengladbach, we drew and lost. Obviously not a successful. You would be expecting more possibly for Borussia Mönchengladbach, but I think we can all agree Barcelona and Man City, home and away. I got 2 draws with Man City. I don't think that's horrendous. We should be expecting more. And I'm not saying that we can go and beat them, but I can understand. The next one is not good reading at all. Bayern Munich lost home and away. PSG lost home and away. We got battered off PSG, if I remember rightly, that year. Anderlecht, we got a win at home. Was it at home? I don't know. Won a game and lost again. Again, PSG and Bayern Munich, 2 absolute giants. You're expecting more, but understandable. This season so far, Feyenoord, Lazio, not good enough. I think we should be expecting more out of that. I think the 2 performances. You talk about red cards and fucking all the rest of it, but we should be getting more points. Agreed. The Liverpool one is Ludogorets. Remember that?
Ludogorets, yeah. Bulgarian team.
You got a win and a draw. So Liverpool, you're expecting 2 wins there. Bal, a loss and a draw. Liverpool at that time, was that when they had Balotelli and all that?
They nearly won the league, and then they went out and signed like half of the Southampton team to go into the Champions League.
That's right.
Like, what the fuck?
And then they lost twice against Real Madrid. So, Stephen, what's your thoughts on? See, for me, looking at that, like, I can understand to an extent. You'd be hoping it could pick up more, but another one of these, for me, stats that you're like, holy shit, that's horrendous. But when you look into it, it's not as, it's sort of understandable. But what do you think?
I mean, before I get into what I think, watching your demeanour read out the teams slowly sink was how I feel when you mentioned the teams that you mentioned. I mean, PSG, Barcelona, let's get them out of the way, right? 100%. But you go back to Liverpool, Ludogorets, Bal, you go to Celtic, you go to Borussia Mönchengladbach, you go to Anderlecht, you go to fucking the teams now, Feyenoord, Lazio. These to me are ties that we should be doing far better in. And look, I'm not going to. It's just the thing, isn't it? It's just not good enough. I cannot say anything different. I really can't. I understand the teams like PSG, Real Madrid's that he had 2 great results against City, and from what I believe, after them games, City started being found out in the Premier League. I think we all know that. I think one of the games after they were on an unbeaten run. They're on an unbeaten run, and then Tottenham ended it after we played them. I think it was the home game. We drew 3 each. So yeah, but look, when you mention them teams, Willie, it must dawn in your brain that we should do far better. And I know you said we should 100%, but it's not good enough. It strains all the band.
Can you not see? Like, surely I know, and I say like we should be getting a result in there out of all that, but at the same time, mate, these guys, their teams are like astronomical fees for the best players in the world. Yeah, we got a win against Anderlecht.
I know, but we lost against them as well at home. We won away. We won away.
Yeah, but you can't beat. We also got beat after St Mirren.
They don't pay astronomical fees.
Yeah, they do. Compared to us, they do. No, and I said we should be getting results against them, but you're saying PSG and Barcelona, but we should still be getting a result.
I said forget about them. I didn't say we should get a result. I said forget about them particular teams because
we got a result against Anderlecht. There you go.
Yeah, but Mönchengladbach and the draw and the loss.
Yeah, I know, but you can't
other teams as well.
I don't understand how you've got this sort of.
I thought this was Rogers' record. No, us being shite.
We should just go.
Well, Rogers was in charge of us at that time.
You've got this thing about just going in and we should be turning over that team. I don't watch Mönchengladbach, but they're in the Champions League. They must have had a decent season beforehand, and they're obviously a good team. So I can understand why we wouldn't. I can't just expect to go in and pump these teams.
But do you think Mönchengladbach fans are watching Celtic? They're not, but they're still expecting their team to pick up a result, which inevitably they did. We did.
Every single game we go into, and it might be just pure naivety, seeing as that's the word of the pod, I think we can always pick up a result. But I can understand why we don't. Like, it's the top. Thanks, Pam. It's the biggest and best clubs in the world. So we could get beat off St Mirren. We got beat off Cully this year. We can't just be expected to go and we should be beating them. That's not how football works, in my opinion.
But that's right. No, that's fair. But that's just my opinion on
I think
the Rogers
against these top teams, right? I think it's the equivalent of saying what's Kilmarnock's record against Celtic over the last 6 years. Like we are.
So now we're at the point. But now you're making an excuse by bringing Kilmarnock and St Mirren into this. We're talking about Celtic in Europe.
No, I'm not. You're making your point in Europe, but you're saying we should be beating teams. I'm trying to explain to you on a scale, just on a different scale, how superior they are to us, money-wise, ability-wise, player-wise. And what I thought in my head was, if you look at that on your scale, us to a Kilmarnock as we're far superior to them, money-wise, budget-wise, player-wise, and we're expected to beat them, just like a PSG would be expected to beat us. So, that's why I'm trying to understand this whole where we're going into Champions League and it's like, we should be beating these teams. We've not got any God-given right to beat these teams. It's the top best teams in the world.
I just checked quickly for this year. Mönchengladbach's highest transfer, 10 million quid.
Yeah, this year. I'm not in the Champions League this year.
But you're saying they pay astronomical fees. They don't. They're a club we should be challenging with.
Check the Champions League that we were playing in. The year we were playing
in. Go to Ross. I'll check. Go to Ross.
It doesn't, honest to fucking God. I had the same conversation with you every fucking week, man. And you never, this is what I'm talking about, my point. You didn't listen to my point. You just jump on what you're thinking. Point. You're not.
But you're trying to make it sound better by bringing Kilmarnock and St Mirren.
Yeah, but exactly. This is my point. I've just explained it to you twice, and all you've said is you're trying to explain.
Because of budgets and that. I get that. 100%.
So why should we be expected to beat them then?
I'm not saying expected, but we should be expecting better, really.
10 times.
Mate, I didn't say we expect to beat them. We expect to get better results. Don't put words in my mouth, man. I didn't say that. I said we expect better results.
Yeah, and I agreed with you.
But then you're bringing Scottish clubs.
Away, so how's that not like?
Look, just disagree to disagree because we're going to go on all night. I don't want to go over it. I have my opinion.
Yeah, and I had mine. So how the fuck is that not allowed?
It's allowed, man. But I'm saying you're trying to tell me that I said. You're trying to tell me that I sat here and said we expect to win. I didn't say that. We should be expecting better.
Yeah, I said that as well. But you're going out and saying we should be beating teams like PSG and Barcelona.
When did I say that once? I never said that once.
You want us to compete with these teams. I said I understand.
Did I say that once and we should beat PSG and Barcelona?
Your exact words were, we should be beating these teams.
Yeah.
I said forget about them teams. They're out of our scale.
No, not the PSGs and that, but Mönchengladbach, you said we should be beating the teams.
We should be expecting
it's
a better
not that
result, yeah.
we should, aye.
That's what you
That's
said.
a better phrase.
Expecting a better result.
Well,
But
maybe I've misphrased
anyway,
that, but that's what I meant in my head.
aye, that's fair enough.
So, what do you think, Ross, about how we're looking this year with Brendan at the helm than Ange? Do you think we're better suited to European football under Brendan than we are Ange? Or do you think that, like last night on Wednesday night, if we were playing Ange ball, we would have got the result?
It's hard to say because we weren't playing Ange ball. So I don't know. We playing Ange ball, we maybe would have made more chances. Kyogo took his one and only chance as Willie froze.
No.
No,
I'm just going through the comments. Sorry, mate.
Kyogo took his one and only chance. He maybe would have got more chances. But then you look at it and go, right, okay, we're playing Ange ball, we're going for it. But then we're leaving spaces at the back, so the Lazio will get more joy. I don't know. I think that we all lauded the approach last season. Don't respect the teams, play your game, and go for it. And it almost worked. It was very close. This time, we're playing a bit more pragmatic. We're playing more possession-based football, which we all knew, even before Rodgers came in, that is the way we would play. I think it's even more pragmatic than it was Rodgers' first time around. But again, and I'm sort of hanging Stephen's point for earlier, and the fact that we're now playing, we're playing a different way, but it's almost worked, but it's not quite worked. But I think on Wednesday night, what I will say is I don't know whether we'd got more joy with the way Ange played, but I think on Wednesday night we were closer even than any game that Ange played. We were closer to getting a result on Wednesday night playing the way Rodgers played than any other game. I don't know whether that be down to, obviously it's different opposition, styles make games and stuff like that, but I think that's as close as we've come since we've got back into the Champions League under Ange. That was our first year last year, and then so if you take the campaign last season and the start of this one, that game Wednesday night is as close as we've come to getting a result, in my opinion. So on the face of that, you could possibly say, you could make a case that Rodgers' style is working better, but you can't say conclusively for me. Both styles were good in their own way, their own right. They both, certainly domestically, get you the same end game, just a different way of doing it. I don't know. I like both managers. I like both styles. Ange's style excited me. Ange is a man, a person I've liked anybody better as a Celtic manager, but I love Brendan Rodgers as well, and I love the football that he plays. I love that we look at a hard team to beat. We're a harder team to beat than we were under Ange, albeit that Ange won a lot of games. I think when it, like say, the game at Ibrox there, everyone was against Celtic. I think if Postecoglou went to Ibrox with that team, probably wouldn't have won that game. But the way Rodgers played, the way Rodgers set up, Ange wouldn't have. We made ourselves difficult to beat, and Rodgers won that game. I don't know. You could make arguments for and against both. I don't know. They're both. Ange came up short. Rodgers currently is coming up short. But again, I go back to it. The both teams were always in the games. They've never been absolutely pulverised, albeit we lost 3-1 in Leipzig, and we were way off at that game. We didn't perform well. But 5 out of 6 games, we were in it for me. Well, no, you could say we got cuffed in the Bernabeu. I forgot about that. So 4 out of 6 games we were in it. I think 2 out of 2 so far we've been in it. We need to make the next step. Of course we do. Whether we do in this campaign or not, it's going to be very difficult. but I still maintain that I don't think we're far away.
So, in saying that, Stephen, what's your thoughts on the rest of this campaign? Because I think we all agreed we needed to win all our home games. That's obviously not going to happen now. Can we get results away from home? Do you think we can? Do you think we can still get through the group stage? Do you think Europa League's our spot, or do you think we just not want to do as bad as what the Rangers did last year?
That's where I'm at the minute, to be fair. That's my major concern, that we match or even do worse than what they done last year. And look, we've got Atletico twice coming up, the toughest games, and we were hoping we would have got points on the board by then, but we haven't, so we'll have to cope with that. Atletico Madrid, under Diego Simeone, they're a formidable outfit, like defensively sound. They've got good attacking players as well, Griezmann, Depay, players of that kind of quality. So look, I'm not holding much hope out for them games. I'll be happy with a point, 100% from the two. But I mean, looking at it as well, like we've got Lazio coming up away. We can maybe look back at 2019, the 2020 campaign with a bit of hope that we can do it over there. Obviously, Oliver Neesham and Chris Sutton, that kind of commentary was fantastic. If you remember, it was unbelievable. We've got Feyenoord the last game at home. I personally don't think we will be in Europe after Christmas. I think we can kiss that goodbye, in my opinion. I think Lazio and Atletico will see through the group, and Feyenoord will come in third place. And that's not me being defeatist. It's just how I feel at the minute. Unless we perform miracles against Atletico Madrid, then I'll be more than happy to come on here and apologise to Willie Sanfran like you asked me. But these results can happen. I'm hoping we'll have a big night at Parkhead again under the lights and we can produce something. But I'm not holding out much hope, folks. I just want us not to be the worst ever performing Champions League team. I don't want that label at our door.
Ross, what's your thoughts? You think we can pick up points?
Like Stephen, out of the two games against Atletico, if we manage to get a point out of that, I think we're doing very well. Over in Lazio, I think that there's a point there for us if we perform like we did on Wednesday night. I think there is a point there for us. But again, it's very difficult and you need a wee bit of luck. I think Feyenoord back at Parkhead, I think we've got a chance to win that game. I really do. Listen, again, I'm under no illusions. It's going to be very difficult. If we win the game, it'll be by the odd goal and it'll be nervy as fuck. Mm-hmm. But we can win the game. We're good enough to beat Feyenoord at Celtic Park with this team. I believe we are. So, listen, I'll be totally honest with you. I would be delighted with a point off Atletico. I don't think we'll get any out of the two games. So you look at Lazio. If we can take a point there and we can beat Feyenoord at home, it puts us in 4 points. You're relying on other results, still probably. Realistically, I'm with Stephen. I think that Europe after Christmas it's a tall order, even getting 4 points. Which at this point now, with 4 games left, if we got 4 points, I think I would be delighted with that. We would be out of the Champions League.
We're off. We're off, John. Stephen, you can just take this here yourself.
It's all about the beard, folks. It's about the beard.
That's it. Where was I?
About European football after Christmas.
I think it's going to, even if we got 4 points, I think it'd be very difficult. You'd be relying on other results. But I think there is an opportunity to get possibly 4 points for the group. And if you do that, it keeps us away from that dreaded label of being on a par. Or, listen, see if we even got 0 points, I don't think we still wouldn't be on a par with Rangers in terms of would be above them in goal difference, because we'll know lose 7-0 to somebody in this group. Rangers did. So it's all good. Don't worry about
it. This is why I get angry.
I'm only joking, but that was tongue in cheek, man. Come on, that was tongue in cheek.
I know.
I think we'll pick up points.
I think we can.
So let's quickly go try and beat the 2 hour mark. Back to domestic action, and revenge is on the horizon. Ross, playing Kilmarnock. Just quickly, do you think there'll be Do you think there'll be any changes? You don't need to necessarily guess your 11, but do you think there'll be anybody coming in and anybody sitting out this weekend? And how do you think the result will go?
Well, I think it's fair to say that Palmer would come in. I don't know. Maeda will probably start. Don't know if Carter Vickers will start. Most of the team picks itself. Partfield, obviously, Palmer. Depends on Carter Vickers' fitness. There's a couple of positions up for debate. In terms of the result, I'm going to go, I think Celtic will be out for revenge. I'm going to go 3-0. Is it home, eh?
Yeah, so
I'll go 3-0 Celtic.
See, now, Stephen, what do you think? Do you think there's anybody on the terrible bench that we've got that's going to come in and get some game time?
Terrible bench, European level, Willie. Come on, domestic level, it's fine. I mean, for me, I think Bernardo might come in for Hatate for a start. I think we might see Palma come in on the left. Nah, Willie knocks me out, man. There's a big difference. I think so basically it'd be the same back four. I think Phillips will still retain his position. I think Bernardo comes in the midfield and Palma to start on the left, and I'll go 3-0 as well, Ross. What about you, Willie?
Yeah, I think it'll be fairly comfortable. I think we can beat them 2-0, but I'm actually hoping we do get to see a few of the other boys. I think there's obviously players that are undroppable at the moment, like O'Reilly, and obviously we need Kyogo up top. But it'll be interesting to see if CCV gets minutes. You can't Scales somebody alongside Scales anyway. And it would be nice. Like, as much as I think Hatate's one of our best players, if not our best player. I know he's not showing it at the moment, but I think it would be nice to see the likes of Bernardo and a bit more at home, maybe a half, hopefully. It'd be nice if we got a couple of goals up at half time and we can make a couple of changes, because let's face it, I don't think he's going to drop Kilmarnock or O'Reilly at the moment. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully we get to see a few of the guys. I like Yang. I think he's really direct. I would like to see Yang start again as well. But I mean, there's definitely options there, and hopefully we see a few changes and we get back to winning ways and extend our lead at the top. And that team across the road have got a difficult game away on Sunday as well, so it could be even extended even further. So yeah, great debate tonight as usual. Thanks everybody in the comments. These have been superb as usual. I've stuck it to a short podcast as usual on a Friday night as well. But thanks very much for joining us on a Friday night and spending your time with us. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Ross. It's been good. Thanks, get on the Super 6 again. I think if you're not on the league yet, it's on this ticker below, or you'll get it in the bio or whatever. And Stephen, your t-shirt's definitely coming your way. I appreciate it.
It's very close now. Very close.
Hope you all have a top weekend, and I hope the Hoops bring you some happy times tomorrow and get a good result. Stay well, keep safe. Hail, hail, troops.
Hail, hail.